Will Ospreay is to main event night 2 of Wrestle Kingdom next year in January. First, Ospreay must face Shota Umino for the Rev Pro Undisputed British Heavyweight Championship at Uprising 21 this Sunday. ICW's Fear and Loathing is this Saturday and Sunday. Biff Busick, formerly Oni Lawson, enters WXW 16 Carat 2022. Eric Young is coming to the UK. Mustache Mountain are the number 1 contenders for the NXT UK Tag Team Championships. Mercedes Blaze has advanced to the final of Progress Revelations Divine Love Tournament. Hello, everybody, and welcome to TNT's A Great British Wrestling podcast for Great British Wrestling, as featured on bodyslam.net, as brought to you by Powered 4 TV. I am your host, the Great British Otaku, Mr. Andrew Moore, Andy to most, and I'm joined as always by my co-host. He is the pro wrestling t-shirt champion of the world, Big Daddy Dan, Daniel Allen.
Good evening. How are you doing, my friend?
I am good. I'm still worn out from my night at Prime, but I am good.
Can never be too worn out after a wrestling show. You just put your all into it. Well done.
Yeah, well, you know, the hotel, if it were, I would say that, but the hotel I stayed at, I will never stay at again.
Oh, dear. Was it a chain or an independent?
It was an independent place, and it was a pub, which should be no problem, but playing banging music till 3 o'clock in the morning when you know you also run as a hotel.
Yeah, that's not ideal.
Yeah, it really, really isn't. But other than that, I had an absolutely fantastic time in Newcastle for Prime Wrestling, and we'll get into that in just a little while. But first, as I just mentioned at the beginning of the show, we are now partnered with, we are affiliated, we are brought to you by Powered 4 TV. We'll have a brand new channel up on there, up and running soon. So brand new location where you can find us. It's going to be fantastic. They are just such an awesome company. You know, even before we became an affiliate of Powered 4 TV, they were probably our greatest resource for knowing who was coming up in the UK wrestling scene.
It gave us the opportunity to see talent that maybe had been focused in a different part of the country to where we were. So it really did help like that.
Especially because they've got promotions running up and down the country, from north to south. It's all covered, east to west. There's some fantastic promotions on there. Let's just have a look at some of these promotions. FNW, TNT Extreme and Ignition, DNA Pro Wrestling, Wrestle Island, Superstar Pro Wrestling, Ignite Pro Wrestling, Lancashire Wrestling Federation, This Is Wrestling, Odyssey Pro Wrestling for You, Full Force Wrestling, Catch Pro Wrestling, Independent Wrestling Elite, and new to the team, World Pro Wrestling. Literally just joined the Power 4 TV today, so welcome. It's just going to be another great resource for British wrestling.
You get a chance to see matches from all over the UK from the comfort of your home for a very, very reasonable price.
It is very much true. I mean, just this week, just over the last few days, they have added so many great shows, which include Catch Pro, Wrestle Island, DNA Fear, FNW, and This Is Wrestling. Just so many different shows, so many that I literally just thought, you know what, we can't review every show because there's just too many. So what I did is I picked my top 10 matches from the last 10 days, uploaded to Powered 4 TV right now. Would you like to hear 10 highly recommended matches to go watch on Powered 4 TV right now?
Yes, I would.
Okay, so we're starting off. We got Scott Oberman versus Ethan Kelly from Wrestle Island Sacred Timeline. Two of the best up-and-coming young competitors out there. Scott Oberman's a little bit further along in the chain. He's really about to break out. Ethan Kelly is one of these guys that is going to be really around the country in the next couple of years. Then, from Wrestle Island Sacred Timeline, Sheik El Sham, Cameron Solis. what a match. Just absolute fantastic. These guys are studs, breakout wrestlers. If you've ever seen them, they're about to have an amazing 2022.
Indeed.
Tom Farewell and 2-Bit. This is from the Catch Pro Enigma Series, Block A Night 1. Again, we're talking two of the very, very best down in the Manchester area of the northeast. But they are fantastic performers, both of them. Both are just absolutely killing it. Two names you're going to see everywhere soon enough. DNA Pro Wrestling Fear. Callum Newman versus Danny Black. Technically, this was Callum Newman versus Danny Black 2 because they also did a match on FNW's night on their second show this year. And they followed it up again with an absolute banger. I mean, when you have Callum Newman, you have Danny Black, you're likely to have a good match. When you have both of them, you're always going to have a great match. That's all I'm saying. And from the same show, Corey McRae and Tim Lee. Corey McRae, Tim Lee, and CJ Carter. Three absolute fantastic workers. They're coming their way up on the south. I know you've seen a few of them on a few shows.
I have indeed.
I'm liking the look of all of these guys. I think we're looking at another couple. I'm desperate to see more of them. From FNW Renaissance, Mark True and Kieran Layton versus the Young Guns. And yes, you were there for this match. So yes, attest to how good this match was.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. Young Guns hit so hard, and it's well worth watching just for that.
And True and Lacey really tried to hold up their own end of that, and it's fantastic finish. You won't see it coming. Laura Di Matteo versus Clementine from that exact same show, FNW Renaissance. Just phenomenal. Laura Di Matteo has always been one of my favorites. Clementine is definitely one of your favorites. She's growing on me. I think she is a lot of fun, but she can get it done in the ring just as
she
much. Going on to FNW's Thursday Fight Night, which is actually their third show. So it was the Young Guns versus the Billington Bulldogs. As you can imagine, we just mentioned, it's the Young Guns. Great. Billington Bulldogs. Just fantastic. You guys have worked together before. You can tell. Great match. Chris Ridgway versus Michael Oku. Again from FNW Thursday Fight Night. Giselle Shaw versus Jade Thursday Fight Night from FNW. 10 amazing matches you can go watch on Powered 4 TV right now for free. Do you want to know how you can go watch all of these for free right now? Well, you can use the passcode TPOD and sign up for an account. You will get 1 month completely free. Go check out all of these incredible matches, and I guarantee you'll want to stay signed up. It's an amazing deal. Go check that out now. Powered 4 TV. Sign up. TPOD. TEAPOD. Thank you very much, Powered 4 TV. Anyway,
thank you guys.
I just said I was at a wrestling show this weekend, didn't I?
You did indeed, lad. Where were you?
I was in Newcastle for Prime Wrestling. I stayed in Wallsend.
I'll smile and nod and pretend I've got a clue what that means.
It's like it was just closer than Newcastle Main Centre to the show. It was a fantastic show. I really, really enjoyed myself. My fiance, who I brought with me to the show, she had an absolute fantastic time too. We got to see a couple of obviously TNT favourites, Rebecca Resner and Crash Boat. I will talk about that in their matches in just a second. Just an awesome time. I mean, it kicked off two young guys, Leon Slater, Ryan Ace. Leon Slater is going to be a star. And he is so athletic. He is so charismatic. I mean, he didn't even do a leapfrog. He just jumped over him. He didn't leapfrog. He didn't do the splits or anything. He literally just jumped over Ryan Ace during one of those where they normally do a leapfrog. It was fantastic. Props to both of them. Gia Adams versus Rebecca Resner was the second match, and these girls put on a show. The crowd was quite quiet to begin with, but it built, and you could see the support, especially for Rebecca Resner. Gia Adams is a local. She's a Northern lass. She's regular with the Newcastle crowd, so she gets a bit more of a thing. But Rebecca Resner really earned the respect of the crowds, especially the young children. I put it part and down because she does some anime entries like thing. I think it's from Yu-Gi-Oh! I couldn't tell you. I know she is the blue-eyed white dragon, which is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Reference. I never got into Yu-Gi-Oh! But apparently, yes, the blue-eyed white dragon. My missus, she says it is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Thing, and I think that really helped the kids appeal to her. Next up was That's So Raven versus Crash Bro, and the crowd was hot for this one because they had dueling chants. That's So Raven, this is Crash Bro. That's So Raven, let's go Crash Bro. It was great. That was fantastic. Then there was one of the guys called DJ CJ versus Jack Bandicoot, and the crowd's going DJ CJ Bandicoot, DJ CJ Bandicoot. I was kind of leading the charge for the Bandicoot boys, of course.
Good work.
But it was really cool because, yes, they did see me. They gave me the thumbs up on the crowd, and I really appreciate that. That was the end of the first half. And Rebecca Resner actually came up to us at the halftime of the show, which was really nice. She came and said hello, said thank you for supporting her. So that was always appreciated. And then I got the VIP. So, of course, I got everyone's signature at the end of the night.
Were you wearing your Tea and Tights t-shirt?
I was wearing my Tea and Tights t-shirt. Of course I was. Actually, I've got a couple of more photos that I forgot to upload. One with Mickey Long or Mickey Limerick, and one with Tommy Zane. There was another couple of young competitors, David Lynn, and I don't remember what his name was, but the crowd was chanting "Toxic Pants" at him because on the back of his pants it says "Toxic Cruiserweight," so it was Toxic Pants.
Excellent.
Then it was a big, beefy, heavyweight, epic clash, titanic proportions. Dan Maloney versus Freddy. And the crowd really disliked Freddy. They were booing him, and they were telling him he sucked. They weren't quite chanting for Dan Maloney. We did try a few times to get a good few chants going for him. But Freddy dominated a lot of this match, much more than I was expecting him to. And he came and just a great, fantastic match. And yeah, as I say, Freddy looked great. He really, really did. Then it was the main event, four-way elimination. Yes, it was originally supposed to be 5. They did take him off the show, which is good. But Tommy Zane versus Liam Slater versus Mickey Limerick versus Liam Slater, Tommy Zane. Great match. At the end of the show, the bad guy won. I'm not going to say which one, but the bad guy won using nefarious tactics. And, well, him and his crew, well, he gets away, but his 2 lackeys, well, they just get a stunner from everybody. So literally they do a whole, literally every good guy that was there that show came down to the ring, and they beat him up, and then they all delivered a stunner to him. And then there was a conga line.
I love the word lackeys. I intend to use it later in the podcast.
That's what they are. So yeah, it was a great show. Really great time. I had so much fun. I'm gonna give it 4.5 sugars because I really just had a great time. It's gonna be available to watch on it's the Freeview Sports Channel, the Sports Channel Network.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's going to be on for Freeview, the Sports Channel Network. I couldn't tell you what dates they are going to be on, but definitely, if you get a chance to, if you regularly watch Freeview, go check it out. Go use it. Go support Prime Wrestling Entertainment. Let's go into some news, Dan. Why don't you kick us off?
Will Ospreay is going to main event night 2 of Wrestle Kingdom, where he will be facing either Shingo Tagaki or Kazuchika Okada. Let's be honest, either of those matches we'll be happy to see.
Absolutely brilliant matches. Of course, he'll be the first British competitor to main event a Wrestle Kingdom show, Wrestle Kingdom Night. He'll be, I believe, I mean, someone might be able to correct me, but I think he's one of 3 Gaijins total that will have main evented, and that list includes Kenny Omega and Switchblade Jay White.
Yeah.
So this is, I mean, it's huge for British wrestling to have a guy like Will Ospreay to go on to main event. It's huge for guys who are juniors at a young age, and maybe worried that they're not going to get taken as seriously. He is great motivation for someone who, you know, started as a cruiserweight, as a junior, so small, and with the right eating plans, with the right exercises, you know, he's become a true heavyweight. And honestly, that's why he's gone on to dominate wrestling, while a few other cruiserweights may have been left behind.
Yeah.
And just absolutely going to be a great show. It's all kicked off at Battle for the Valley, NJPW, this past weekend, where Will Ospreay defeated Ren Narita. Really good match, fun watch. Also, check out his match on Alex Zane. It's actually free on YouTube. I sent you the link about it.
You did.
Absolutely phenomenal match, him and Alex Zane. He had a great match here with Ren Narita. Later in the night, Kazuchika Okada took on Buddy Matthews, or Buddy Murphy. He beat him after the match. Will Ospreay came out and said, "You won the G1. You're supposed to challenge me because I'm the real world champion, not Shingo Takagi." And then they schmozzed it all around. And now they're going to be there, Wrestle Kingdom Night 2. Will Ospreay is going to be facing Tagaki or Okada. The good money, according to a lot of the post threads that I've been reading, is that Kazuchika Okada will win and beat Shingo Takagi. We've seen Will Ospreay quite a few times recently, and then Will Ospreay will defeat Okada at Wrestle Kingdom for the championship. Because you remember, they competed at last year's Wrestle Kingdom, and Okada beat him. So 1 year later, could Will Ospreay beat Okada for the IWGP?
We do like good storytelling in wrestling.
We really, really do. But first, he's got to compete for RevPro UK.
He has, and there is news from RevPro UK. There is a new champion. This past weekend, Hale Windsor defeated Giselle Shaw to become the new undisputed British Women's Champion. And Giselle Shaw had held that belt for quite a while, hadn't she?
Yeah, I mean, she dropped it to Jamie Hayter, went up for a thing, and then she won it back against Zoe Lucas for the vacant title. But yeah, if you don't, she still had quite a few defenses in a short period of time. I think over probably about 6 months she held it for. She at least had 6 defenses of the title, which so that's pretty impressive. And Alex Windsor, she's back. She's a champ. She beat her last time out. She earned a shot, and she beat her this time out. This time she did it clean, no roll-ups, no things. It was a straight victory. So fair play, Alex Windsor.
Yeah, and she will have to defend her newly won crown at the upcoming Uprising 21 at York Hall on November the 21st, as will every other champion for Rev Pro. Because all 4 championships will be on the line. The full lineup is as follows. Francesco Akira will be taking on Robbie X. Gideon Gray will be getting beaten up by Yota Tsuji with the rule that if Tsuji wins, the Legion must disband. If Gray wins, Tsuji must join the Legion.
Oh, see, are you sure that Gideon's going to get beaten up? Well, he's going to get beaten up. But does make me wonder.
Carl Fredericks and Alex Coughlin will be taking on the Sunshine Machine. Aussie Open, who are currently tag team champions, will be taking on Ricky and Roy Knight in a tag team championship match. Michael Oku will be defending his Cruiserweight Championship against Speedball Mike Bailey. Alex Windsor will be facing Debbie Keitel for the Women's Championship, and Will Ospreay will be taking on Shota Umino for the World Heavyweight Championship.
That's some great matches on that card right there. I mean, Ospreay, Umino, it's been building for a while. It's going to be a great match. Michael, do you think Bull Bailey beats Michael Oku?
No, because I think he's making his TNA debut very soon.
And Robbie X, Francisco Akira 2, technically.
Yes, that will be a very exciting match. Robbie X is so over, but everyone loves Akira.
Yeah.
Before that, though, Revolution Pro Wrestling are in Huntingdon for a double show with afternoon and evening shows. Would you like to tell everyone what the afternoon show is?
Yes, I'm quite happily do that. JJ Gale is going to get beaten up by Luke Jacobs. Yota Tsuji is going to be taking on Doug Williams.
That is going to be a very interesting match to watch.
Alex Coughlin is going to be taking on DK Cooper. Chuck Mambo will be taking on Carl Fredericks. Robbie X and Callum Newman will be taking on Aussie Open. Connor Mills will be taking on Mike Bailey, so the day before he takes on Oku. And Lucian Phillips takes on RKJ. Then, in the evening, Luke Jacobs is going to beat up Robbie X. Alex Coughlin and Cole Fredericks are going to be taking on Team, two extremely athletic men.
If they say so themselves.
Kenneth Halfpenny and Sean Jackson. Sunshine Machine are taking on White and Williams again, Brendan White and Doug Williams. So that's going to be a third time. Callum Newman is taking on Mike Bailey. That is going to be amazing. Shota is going to be teaming with Destination Everywhere to take on the United Empire. So basically, they're getting beaten up by the United Empire.
Yes, they are.
You know, so Destination Everywhere, they're amazing, but Aussie Open are huge in comparison.
They really are. Having now seen them live, yeah, they really are big guys.
But next weekend is not just Rev Pro UK who are going to be doing double shows. Insane Championship Wrestling. What is it next week?
Fear and Loathing 13 on Saturday and on Sunday. So Saturday night we have Sakib Ali and Darrow versus Sweeney and Levi. That'll be a good starting match, I think. Ravy Davey versus Theodorus. This is coming off this week's ICW TV show, which I will tell you about later.
Yeah, it's only going to be a street fight, that one.
It's a Glasgow street fight. The Manifesto. ADM, Grant McIver, Eddie Castle, and Dylan Thorne will be taking on Luking Sharp, Jimmy Pierce, and The Purge. Jason Reed will be going against Chris Bungard, the MMA fighter. Aaron Echo will be against Logan Smith. Daz Black will be taking on Francesco Akira. That match is going to be the show stealer. Molly Spartan will be going up against Angel Hayes for the Women's World Championship. And Kez Evans will be going against Jackson for the Men's World Championship. And then on Sunday, we have a six-man ladder match with Sheikh El Sham versus Talon Jr. versus Joey Hayes versus Danny Hope versus Martin Kirby versus TBC. TBC, he does get around a lot.
Yes. Andy
Wilde will be taking on Big Damo. That is going to be a good match as well.
Big boy wrestling.
Big boy wrestling. Leighton Buzzard takes on LJ Cleary. Casey takes on Rio. That I'm going to look forward to. And then Jack Jester will be taking on both members of Thatcher's Cabinet. I'm not sure that I feel happy about that match. I'll be honest with you. I feel that Thatcher's Cabinet should have been taking on a full tag team as opposed to just Jack Jester, but we shall see. Yeah. And then the 9-9 will be facing the Kings of the North.
Isn't BT Gunn taking on Stevie Boy as well?
Well, I'd heard about BT Gunn and Stevie Boy, which I haven't seen on there, and I've also heard about Thatcher Wright versus DCT.
So probably probably going to be on the Sunday night given. I did see there was going to be a couple of dark matches with Anastasia and She was against and Zero versus Shaman A, and it's Anastasia versus Julia Adams. So these are going to be part of a VIP entry for exclusive matches.
Very nice.
Not bad. What do you think of it? You're the ICW expert.
Overall, I think it's a fairly strong card. I'm not sure how I feel about Jackson being parachuted in for sort of 3 shows before going up for the World Championship. I am looking forward to the Manifesto match, very much so. I'm really looking forward to Casey versus Rio. And yeah, I think all in all, it should be a really good show. The ladder match is an interesting one. They've got a couple of wrestlers in there who I'm just surprised to see Joey Hayes and Danny Hope in that match. So we'll see how it goes. Talon Jr.'s on a run. Martin Kirby's made his comeback. He's looking great. And Sheik El-Sham can batter everyone.
Yeah, I mean, Talon Jr., from what I've seen, is a talented young man. He's got some great ability, but always hard to get over sometimes when you're hidden.
Yeah, he's managed.
He has managed, but yeah, it's a good card. I'd say there's some good matches there that I'd really be interested in seeing. Leighton Buzzard, LJ Cleary being one, Casey versus Riho another, and a 99 Kings of the North, I'm sure will be a great match. As you mentioned, Daz Black and Francesco Akira is going to be excellent. Do you think they had Jackson pulled in for Kez Evans to get a win, as if to say the old ICW is dead, long live a new breed?
Well, I guess they kind of did that with DCT. They could have done it with somebody else. But yeah, I guess it is a case of bringing in the new breed. I can't see him winning. I can't see him beating Kez Evans.
Yeah, it's got to be Kez Evans. Do you think the better idea would have probably to have somebody else take the 0G title rather than Daz Black, and have Daz Black versus Kez Evans as your ICW main event?
No, I don't. I think Daz Black needs to be the 0G champion. I think he elevates the belt and the belt elevates him.
Yes.
I think Kez Evans does need to be in the heavyweight championship picture, but I'm just not feeling Jackson. I'd have felt better with Andy Wilde in there.
It would have been better if it had been the shock return of what's his name, Craig Anthony, who we put out.
Yes, that would have made much more sense.
He would have been, but he's an amazing competitor. I wonder how long he's actually out for. It'd be interesting to find that out, see if we can. Anyway, let's move on to a couple of other bits of news. Biff Busick. Busick? Yeah, I'm sure it's Busick. The former Oni Lorcan. Yeah. He's entered the WXW 16 Carat tournament for next year. So he's going to be the 3rd American to join in, because AC Romero and Jonathan Gresham have already been entered, as well as Japanese performer Fumori Abe. So, and interesting, he suits European wrestling, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Very much so.
Very much smash mouth, hard hitting.
I always enjoyed his matches in WWE, NXT. I always thought he was great, and I thought he and Danny Burch made an excellent tag team.
Yeah, I thought him and Burch were a fantastic tag team. They just, even the name, just the Brit and Brawlers, I thought, yeah, you know what, it just kind of suits them. As you say, I think, yeah, he really suits the European style. I think he'll enjoy it. I'd like to see him maybe have a WXW, have a long, go be there for a year or so.
Yeah.
I think it's a great star. I think he'll really suit, and he'll appeal to that. I think it's a great addition. Somebody else coming to the UK, or well, Europe. Eric Young is going to be coming to the UK. I believe the date is January 23rd onwards, up until February time. I think he's going to be having a good tour because we think we know who's behind the booking of it. And so, yeah, I think he's going to be in quite a few UK promotions. Obviously, he did send a little tweet out to say UK promoters who he's looking for. Where would you like to see Eric Young?
Well, seeing as I'm going to Wrestle Carnival at around the time that he's there, it would be quite nice to see him in Wrestle Carnival.
Of course, Axel Tisker is going to be at Wrestle Carnival, the former Alexander Wolf.
Ooh, that sounds like there could be a bit of a meeting of minds there from a previous incarnation.
Yeah. Of course, TNT Extreme. I think they would be a phenomenal promotion. Eric Young would really, again, he would suit in with a lot of guys from TNT Extreme. I'm not sure what dates they're running in January.
Neither am I, but you're right. He would definitely fit in with their style of wrestling.
Actually, sorry. Yeah, UK. Where else would you possibly like to see him go?
If it ties in FNW, I think an FNW crowd will go absolutely mad for Eric Young.
Okay, so TNT Extreme have shows January 6th and February 3rd. I think it might be a bit of a miss. Possibly.
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. I can't remember the exact dates he's down, but TNT Extreme, ICW.
I know we don't discuss them, but OTT.
Yeah, why not? Rev Pro, Progress, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rev Pro used to have a lot of the old TNA guys come over. So
yeah, they have so I think Eric Young. It's just he was so. I loved him in TNA. I really, really loved Eric Young in TNA.
I liked every version of him as well.
All the way from Team Canada, all the way over where he was this cowardly, scared of his own pyro, the superhero. I loved that. And, you know, when he was given his title run, I just thought it was so well deserved. He deserved that.
I agree with that, but also don't forget the work he did with ODB as well.
Yeah, of course. Let's not forget.
Brilliant fun. Really was.
Just an amazing wrestler. Look forward to having him over here in the UK. So if you're listening, Eric Young, tuning in, cheers. One, cheers for tuning in. Two, we look forward to seeing you in the UK, hopefully with some of our favourite promotions. Let's just do the results and recaps. We've got for NXT UK's latest, as well as ICW Fight Club's latest, and Progress Wrestling. Why don't you kick us off with some NXT UK?
Okay, I'm going to say something that might be a little bit controversial. I think the first match on NXT UK could be their TV match of the year. Nathan Fraser versus Mark Andrews. For me, for my style of wrestling that I love, this was heaven.
This was good. This was really, really good. Best I've seen from Mark Andrews in a long, long time.
Yes.
Maybe apart from the match with Noam Dar, actually. That was a really good match. But still, just a fantastic, best probably we have seen. Nathan Fraser was excellent in it. I'd like to see him get a rematch and have Fraser pick up a win next time out. But there was some phenomenal spots during this. The one where Fraser misses the moonsault and then Andrews hits the springboard moonsault. And then then Mark Andrews coming in from the outside for the springboard gets met in midair by Nathan Fraser from the inside, who does a springboard Spanish fly. It was insane.
I love the fact when Nathan Fraser was standing on the second rope and Andrews did a 619 and took his legs out from underneath him.
Yes.
So ingenious.
Best
God.
version I've seen of that. Finally, someone actually know there's one other version that I've seen that's probably a little bit better. And that's where instead of having the person leaning over the ropes head first, their back head is at the bit of it. So when he goes round, he actually kicks him in the back of the head and does some real damage.
Nice. this match was just absolutely brilliant. Find 20 minutes of your day to go and watch it. It's fantastic. I absolutely loved it. And Mark Andrews won with a roll-up reversal, which I thought was done very nicely and does leave it open for a rematch. And if they do have a rematch, I also hope that Nathan Fraser wins, because then we'll have a rubber match.
Exactly. Me too.
Right. So, yeah, that was just great. We then had a recap of Rampage Brown going to be going up against Ilya Dragunov for the title.
I still love that. I don't need your respect. I just need your title. Just brilliant. That's the Rampage we wanted. No word, just very few words. Action.
Sam Gradwell was then interrupted by A Kid, who doesn't appreciate what Sam Gradwell said about Spain.
And what did he call him?
Yogurt.
He called him a yogurt. I still love Sam Gradwell. It's only funny when I do it. Yogurt.
I still love Sam Gradwell. Pretty Deadly were then shown at a London theatre doing a choreographed routine with the Magic Mike Experience show.
So they're taking this Pretty Deadly serious, which I'm guessing is a new segment that they're going to be doing lots of things similar to this.
Now, credit where it's due, they were very good at their dance moves.
Indeed.
And they looked like a pair of male strippers.
They do.
So they fitted in beautifully. I won't knock it. They had talent. They were good. It was a good thing. And it was also nice to see something filmed outside of the Performance Centre that wasn't awful, because we'll get to that in a minute.
Oh, God, yeah.
Back in the Performance Centre, Kenny Williams was interrupted in his graffiti by Saxon Huxley. I thought they were going to do something new with Huxley after him teaming with Smith and Carter, but no, he's still just annoying and shouty.
Hopefully he'll get a win over Thing, though. He's got a win on the board, so maybe we'll see him get another win here, because I'd like to see him batter the little scumbag.
Okay, I can understand that. We then have Danny Luna versus Stevie Turner. It was a match. Nothing out of the ordinary happened. It was all right. What did you think?
Yeah, it was a good match, but in the sense of just it was just a good match. It's like it's almost like saying it's a good match is just an average match. But yeah, sometimes these days, just a good match sometimes almost seems like it's an average match.
Yeah. And it was an average match. Danny Luna won. So well done, Danny Luna. And then
poor Danny Luna.
Yes.
Sorry. Good Danny Luna. So poor Stevie Turner, who's on her ratio for wins to losses is beginning to go south. Yes.
But at least you can see that in 4 dimensions.
Indeed.
Nina Samuels was then doing a little skit backstage where she started slating Aaliyah James, who was stood behind her and called her out.
Yeah.
Oh, God. We then had Gallus in a car.
Isn't it the god-awful, worst wrestling segment in all of wrestling ever?
This made Noam Dar's sofa talks seem good. They were in a car which obviously wasn't driving anywhere, and they were talking about being hard men and moaning about Tearman. And then there were blue lights behind them. Step on it, Mark. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Just...
I mean, Tearman's table segments are actually pretty good. They do them quite well. Whatever this was, we're gang, we're thugs, we're Gallus, we're a firm, and the police chase us.
It was just...
Why were the police chasing you, Gallus? What were you doing beforehand? Because when you were doing it at the time, you were doing nothing. I know what they were chasing you for. I'm going to let you go first.
No, we're not going to say it because we don't want to get in trouble.
Okay, they were chasing. Do you know why they were being chased? They were being chased for producing the worst ever wrestling video segment ever. That's what the police were chasing them. That's what the police were chasing them for. They were like, no, we can't let this abomination to wrestling exist. Sorry, I'm getting a bit, but it was just horrible. It was
really bad.
Badly done as well. Just,
Subculture then bumped into Blair Davenport.
Yeah, Blair Davenport said, I did like that. It's a good thing you're feeling up because it'll be better when I bring you down.
Yeah, so. I'm not enjoying Blair Davenport speaking. They need to just let her beat everybody up.
Yeah.
Which she can do very well. So please let me see more Blair Davenport battering people and less of her talking at them.
Hopefully she'll batter Danny Luna soon.
Yes.
Not that we want to see Danny Luna get battered, but we just like watching Blair Davenport batter people.
I'm going to sneeze. So do you want to start the next bit?
Go. What happened? Oh, was it the main event? It was the chaotic mess of a main event because it was a 4-corner tag fatal 4-way, which are never particularly great, and especially when they're just all, trying to, I must take myself. It's just, I don't like this type of matchup most of the time. They did a good job with it. There was a lot of good spots, including Primate doing a springboard dive to the outside, which was pretty impressive for Primate, considering. Trent Seven taking a big fall off the turnbuckle. Excellent finishing move that the electric chair cutter that Carter and Smith use.
Yes.
Other than that, it was just chaotic mess.
It was a chaotic mess, and I am not bored of Mustache Mountain. I like Mustache Mountain, okay? But they shouldn't have won this match, in my opinion. They don't need the title shot, whereas all three of those other teams need something to build them up. And now they're not going to get it.
Yeah, but none of those teams have been built up enough to face Pretty Deadly to be beaten again by Pretty Deadly. Mind you, Mustache Mountain haven't exactly done huge amounts to deserve it either. But we need Carter and Smith to get a few wins under their belt so they can look like a credible threat to Pretty Deadly before they go and face them. I suppose you could say Mastiff and Stars had that, but you were literally just... And they're just another thrown together team. These are the only two, Carter and Smith. I'd like them to give themselves a tag team name, make them feel like a tag team rather than just Carter and Smith. Because right now, as Carter and Smith, they just seem like jobbers. Maybe if they give themselves like a tag team name, they'll
they sound
they'll get
like
some respect.
Like a bad 90s R&B group.
Yeah, but.
Overall, because of how great the first match was, and I would give that a 5-star, sugar, it takes away from how bad some of the other bits were. You see, it was the swings and roundabouts because of how bad that Gallus thing brings it all down. Yeah, even with that amazingness, I can only give it 2.5.
Oof, that's bad. I was going to give it 3, and I thought I was being harsh. But
I can't, because the main event was a cluster. The Danny Luna match was meh. And the promo from Gallus just made me want to turn off the telly. Well, actually, it made me want to throw things at the telly. But
yeah. I can understand. Yeah, I'll give you it. It wasn't particularly... thing, but it was 3 sugars. Anyway, Progress Wrestling, which I took out and watched once I got home yesterday late. It was Progress Wrestling Chapter 125, Castle of Illusion, hosted by the one and only Charles Crowley. So there were hijinks throughout the show. But I'm just going to focus on the wrestling, really. Kid Lycos defeated LJ Cleary with some Lycos shenanigans, of course, because it's Kid Lycos and Kid Lycos 2. Really good match, though. As you can expect, LJ Cleary, Kid Lycos, they really have good chemistry. Both of them, especially Kid Lycos, just phenomenal wrestler. Chris Ridgway then beat Danny Black up for a long time. Poor Danny Black. He did get some offense in, including a fantastic looking suicide dive cutter, which was awesome. And he followed that up with the Out of the Black cutter. He had a couple of chances. Basically, Chris Ridgway just beat him up. And then to finish him off, despite the fact he could easily have pinned him off the first punch to the face, as Danny Black just lay there pretty much motionless, he just punted him in the back of the head, which, poor Danny Black.
He is Smash Mouth Chris Ridgway.
He is Smash Mouth Chris Ridgway. He smashed the back of the skull in. As I say, great match still, because I just like to watch Chris Ridgway beat people up. Sorry, Danny Black. Malik then beat up Keenan Krishna much the same way, and then afterwards then said he wanted a match with the Golden Boy Danny Black because he wants to beat up the young juniors. And so I guess next week it's going to be Malik versus Danny Black, and Danny Black's going to possibly get beaten up once again. Sunshine Machine defeated the 8-7. The 8-7, of course, is Warren Banks and Ray Johnson, Big Wavy himself, back in the ring, back in a Progress match. Of course, that's not the only, because the 8-7 also consists of Jade and Alexander Roth. Hopefully, we'll see them on Progress one day. But they, for now, it was the 8-7 represented by Warren Banks and Roy Johnson. But they came up short against the Sunshine Machine. Raven Creed defeated Tonga. Really good match. Tonga looked good. She was strong. She tried to use a cattle mutilation at one point, which I thought was odd because it's a very technical. It just, I don't know. It didn't suit. It didn't work. Tonga using the cattle mutilation, not for me. Raven Creed, picked up the win. Dan Maloney and Elijah started off. It started off with Elijah just basically beating the crap out of Dan Maloney, thanks for a bit of Charles Crowley distraction. Then it turned into Dan Maloney beating up Elijah because he'd finally had enough and hulked up and killed Elijah. After the match, Elijah then said he wanted a match with Charles Crowley. Mercedes Blaze then defeated Alexis Falcon in the Revelation of Divine Love Tournament semi-final. Mercedes Blaze was helped in that match by Lana Austin, who took a share to Alexis Falcon. So Alexis Falcon has been betrayed once again. Then it was Coronel Wild versus Nick Riley. Now, I don't know if there was something off. I think in the very, very early moments of this match, and I can only speculate, but I think Nick Riley got a bit of a concussion.
Oh, dear.
I think, I can't be sure. There's no reports. There's no nothing about it. It's the match wasn't possibly as good as Nick Riley's can be. There was definitely straight after, which I think possibly caused a concussion. He actually missed a suicide dive. He dropped it very, very short, which is very unlike Nick Riley to do so. I think what happened was when they was going for a moonsault spot, and I think in the moonsault was supposed to get a bit of a drop kick to the face. I think he got a drop kick to the face a bit too hard because you can see Nick Riley's nose is definitely busted open from it. I just wonder if he took a bit more of an... It was still a really good match because it's Coronel War and Nick Riley, but I think there was something... Yeah, so a little concerning. After which, Coronel War won to retain the Progress Championship. Debbie Keitel was then... Giselle Shaw was then given a promo. Debbie Keitel came out and she then did a promo. I couldn't tell whether Debbie Keitel was supposed to be a face or a heel, but she's challenging Giselle Shaw, but Giselle Shaw's a heel, but she kind of sounded heelish herself. I'm yet to see anything that's really grabbed me and said that Debbie Keitel's a top star right now. I'm not sure I see it. Gene Money won the 6-way scramble match to crown a new number 1 contender. So Gene Money versus Cara Noir. That's an interesting match. And yeah, go on, Money. I'd like to see this. I think it's time we saw Beast Unleashed with Gene Money because he's a phenomenal guy. Yes, he's a lot of fun, but I really think he could be, if he unleashed the beast for a little while, he could become a real superstar on the scene. Not that he's not already a real superstar on the scene, he already is, but I want to see Beast Gene. Anyway, I would give this show a good 4 sugars. It was some great matches.
Excellent. Daz Black versus Levi was our first match at ICW Fight Club. Levi came out with Sweeney, and I'll tell you what I enjoyed. In an ICW match, somebody came out with their partner who didn't get involved at all during the match.
No.
Yep.
Surely.
No, straight up. I mean, normally it has to be Thatcher's Cabinet not getting involved in a match, but this was no involvement whatsoever from Sweeney. Levi probably wanted some involvement from Sweeney because he got beaten. He did pull off a couple of great moves. He hit a wonderful satellite DDT into a stun gun that was great. But yeah, overall, Daz Black, one thing I didn't mention, it was just a non-title match, which you know how I feel about those. And Daz Black said that he's a fighting champion and it will be a championship match. So, yes, the championship wasn't on the line. Daz Black won it with a curb stomp and then a second curb stomp just to make his point.
Poor Levi.
Poor Levi, yeah. We then had the Purge versus the Manifesto, represented by Grant McIver and Eddie Castle. Stevie James got battered quite a lot, which is kind of what you expect in a Purge match, because then Crowbar came in and did his best to make up for it. There was a lot of interference from the outside, particularly by Dylan Thorne grabbing at the ankles of the legs, trying to take the attention away. In the end, though, Crowbar did the slapjack, which was then given the savant kick at the same time by Stevie James. I can't remember what they call that double team move, but it's great. And they got the 1-2-3 on McIver. Afterwards, the Manifesto did the beatdown 4-on-2, but out came Luke King Sharp and Jimmy Pierce to equal the numbers and shout lots of profanity at each other. There's a lot of profanity shouted at us. ICW. Theodorus then took on Ravy Davey in a traditional rules match. And I think you would love the beginning of this match. I'm going to say this exactly as it happened. Lock up, headlock takeover by Doris. Lock up, headlock takedown by Doris. Lock up, headlock takedown by Doris. Are you spotting a pattern yet? Lock up, headlock takedown by Doris. Lock up, headlock takedown by Doris. Lock up, Ravy Davey grabs Doros and gives him a noogie. Ravy Davey did all right in this for a traditional rules match. And what was lovely is, as you may have seen if you watched the AEW pay-per-view, it's the 16th anniversary of the death of Eddie. Are you there?
Are you there?
I'm here.
Good.
Yeah, it's the 16th anniversary of the death of Eddie Guerrero, and Ravy Davey won with the slamming of the steel chair onto the ground to make it seem like he'd been hit with a steel chair and threw it to Theodorus, a la Eddie Guerrero. So that match was won by Ravy Davey because it was thrown out by the referee. And at the end of this, Doris calls out he wants to keep this feud going. And Ravy Davey said, right, Glasgow Street Fight at Fear and Loathing. We had Adam Maxted, friend of the show, with Luke Cairo versus King Killer, with Kai Williams King in his corner from the KOE. This match, I was surprised King Killer got a lot of offense in. Adam Max did hit a drop kick.
Really?
He did. And you know
Max
what?
did hit a drop kick.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, it's almost like you would say he's the messiah of the drop kick.
It's almost like you could say that. He is brilliant. Adam Maxton is a fantastic wrestler, and he does show that in this match. There was the usual amount of interference from the outside, as you'd expect in this match. In the end, Adam Maxton hit a beautiful missile drop kick from the top rope. He just floated. It was great. 1, 2, 3, your winner by pinfall, Adam Maxton. We then had Jackson versus Thatcher Wright. However, on his walk to the ring, Thatcher Wright injured his shoulder carrying his flag. It was just too heavy. Oh. Therefore, he announced that he would not be able to take part in this match, but it was okay because one member of his cabinet would. The cabinet looked a little shocked at this and not desperately impressed. Jackson ran over, knocked Skinner off the apron and threw Charles Weiss into the ring. So it was actually Jackson versus Charles Weiss. Charles Weiss wrestled this match very well for a smaller guy versus a bigger guy. He focused a lot on holds, and he did a brilliant rear chin lock and just kept going back to that move, kept going back to the rear chin lock, kept going to it to wear down Jackson. Unfortunately for him, even with support from Thatcher's cabinet, Jackson did overpower him most of the way through. In the end, both members of Thatcher's cabinet came in when Jackson got Charles Weiss in a crossface. So they both came in. All three members were beating down Jackson, beating him. And then out comes Kes Evans to continue the beatdown of his opponent for Fear and Loathing. So that's a 4-person team that could be quite terrifying if it happens again. DCT runs out to make the save, but that means that it's 4 versus 2 as opposed to 4 versus 1. So DCT got battered as well. Thus, we left the evening with Jackson battered, bruised, and beaten with a briefcase, and Kes Evans standing tall. Overall, I would give ICW this week 3 out of 5 sugars, and say, did you forget your women's division because they didn't have a women's match?
How dare they?
Well, in all honesty, they've got one of the strongest women's divisions out there, so they really should have their women's matches. But that's just me moaning.
Yeah, well, it deserves a bemoaning. And yeah, it sounds like a good show overall, though, with some good matches there. The
Daz Black Levi match was really good.
Excellent. Should we round up some British wrestling? Because there's a lot going on the scene, especially for next week. Starting, well, not for next week, but TNT Extreme Wrestling. It's Extreme Cold Day in Hell, which is the November the 30th. Sorry, I haven't written the dates down.
That's all right. You look for the dates and I will tell everybody about our first match on that card. RP Davies will clash with Sonna Durson in a TNT Extreme Dark match.
It's the 25th of November.
25th of November. Charlie Sterling will be battling Adam Maxton for a spot in the Fatal 4-Way Championship match. Maxton versus Sterling. That's going to be great.
It's going to be an amazing match. And then either one of those in the main event coming up is just going to be a phenomenal main event.
It is indeed. Scotty Rourke will be taking on Kid Lycos 2 for the Ultra X Championship. Heidi Katrina is going up against Chantel Jordan. Lizzie Evo will be taking on Alexis Falcon in an Iron Woman match for the TNT Extreme Women's Championships. And I believe we discussed this last time. It's going to be a half-hour match.
Yes, I believe so.
That's going to be brilliant. Fatal 4-Way for TNT Extreme Wrestling to crown a new champion. So we're going to have Nathan Cruz versus Dean Allmark versus Dan Maloney versus the winner of Charlie Sterling and Adam Maxton. Wow.
That is a fantastic lineup. And they're going to follow up on the 28th of November with TNT Ignition High Voltage, because Gia Adams will finally get her hands on Tonga in a TNT ring in a last women standing. That's going to be a great match. Man like Doris will be in action. Cameron Solos has put his Ignition career on the line for a chance to face Scott Oberman for the Ignition Championship, which has been accepted. Shreddy and Synergy will be taking on Big Guns Joe and Simon Miller and Simon Miller and Brian Aidenson, and they're calling themselves the Baldy Arseholes. And it's an elimination tag match. That's Simon Miller and Brian Aidenson, not Big Guns Joe. And in a dark match, Aurora Tevez will be facing Hannah Taylor. They are two phenomenal young women wrestlers, so definitely worth checking that dark match out. This is added to the previously announced Tom Farewell versus JJ Webb and Chase Alexander versus Leon Gray.
Indeed. TNT Extreme Wrestling have announced their 2022 calendar as well. So that is January the 6th, Merseyside Massacre. February the 3rd, DOA. March the 10th, Thrill Kill. April 28th, Sirens Fury. June 2nd, Going Off Big Time. July 21st, Project X. August 25th, Summer Explosion. September 22nd, Total Carnage. Put this one in your diaries, ladies and gentlemen. October the 29th, Extreme Fields. And December the 1st, Cold Day in Hell.
I mean, put every one of those dates in your diary, but definitely do Extreme Fields. Gutted we missed it last year. I'm sure we'll be working out something to make sure that we do not miss it next year. TNT Ignition have also released in calendar year. So you got January 9th, Ignition Rumble. February 6th, Sky's the Limit. March 13th, Ignite the Fire. May 1st, Aftershock. June 5th, All Eyes on Me. July 24th, Outrage. August 6th, No Limit. September 25th, Level Up. October 30th, Little Show of Horrors. And December 4th, High Voltage. Again, get them in your calendar, guys.
I know. Jurassic Pro Wrestling had confirmed that.
Sorry, I just want to mention TNT Ignition, TNT Extreme, available on Powered 4 TV.
Very good. Jurassic Pro Wrestling have confirmed that BDSM, Big Dangerous Scary Mammals, the tag team of Charles Crowley and Clementine, will face Alex Echo and Ben Jones, the lad. Plus, Tommy Kyle versus LK Messinger, the lads. Tommy Kyle versus LK Messinger. They have also confirmed that Dovecourt Dragon will once again be in action at
We're losing you here, Dan. Let me take
away on December the 12th. Previously announced match of Elijah versus DJ Carter.
We lost you a little bit there. So that was the Dovercourt Dragon will once again be in action at on the second show. Life Finds a Way, and that's December 12th. Future Shock, after the events of last week's champions, Shikara is the new Tonga is the new champion. Also new champions at SWW Wrestling are LA Taylor and Sheik El Sham. Some great champions. You're back.
I'm back.
Okay. Go for it. Go for it with Catch Pro Wrestling.
Catch Pro's Catch for Capture is this Saturday, the 20th of November. And they have some interesting matches on their card, including Catch Pro have announced that Chris Ridgway will face Brady Phillips, who is making his debut. Tom Felwell will take on Kev Lloyd in the Enigma Series finals to crown an inaugural catchweight champion, plus a fatal four-way scramble match. Dynamite Lee versus Joe Kessler versus Joey Hayes versus Scotty Rourke to become the number one contender for the catchweight championship. Plus, on the pre-show, we'll be getting a match between Lucia Lee and Ivy. Previously announced for this show, Lizzie Evo versus Rio for the Catch Women's Championship, and Chantel Jordan versus Alexis Falcon. Should Chantel Jordan win, she gets 5 minutes of JJ Webb on his own in the ring.
Indeed. We missed out, Purpose Wrestling. They've announced their 2022 calendar for the Merton Art Space in Wimbledon. That's the 11th of February. The 11th of February, 8th of April, 10th of June, 12th of August, 7th of October, 9th of December. We've got no excuses, Dan. You got the dates ahead of plan, so pick out one for for Purpose Wrestling.
I will. Fight Nation Wrestling, FNW, have announced 3 more matches for their upcoming Magnificent 7 show on Thursday, the 25th of November in Eastbourne. Danny Black will challenge Chris Ridgway for the FNW Men's British Championship. David Francesco will be taking on Damon Mosser. Damon Mosser is so over FNW, you would not believe it. You watch on the Power4 TV how much people love Mosser.
He had a great showing on the recent Thursday Night Fight Club show, the 3rd show. Brilliant.
Yeah. Charles Crowley will face Mad Kurt to decide the final entrant in the Magnificent 7 ladder match. Now, there is a meeting of the minds. Previously announced, the Magnificent 7 ladder match will feature Maverick Mayhew, who replaces Connor Mills. Maverick Mayhew, who we interviewed 2 weeks ago. Please make a point of listening for that interview. It is really good, if I say so myself.
So he's actually replacing his former FNW tag team partner, who he was a tag team champion, of course, with Connor Mills. So that's very interesting.
He'll be up against Callum Newman, Kit Knox, Mark True, Just Joe Lando, Big Guns Joe, and either Crowley or Mad Kurt. Plus, in the female fight league action, we have Clementine versus Sky Smitson. The current female fight league standings are Giselle Shaw with 6 points, 2 wins, no losses, no draws. Laura Di Matteo with 6 points, 2 wins, no losses, no draws. Jade, 0 points, 0 wins, 1 loss, no draws. Sky Smitson, nil point, 1 loss, no draws. And Clementine, nil point again, no wins, 2 losses, no draws.
It's going to be interesting when they finally get to the Giselle Shaw Laura Di Matteo match. But Clementine versus Sky Smitson, who's going to pick up the first points? Who knows? You can check out both Fight Nation Wrestling and Catch Pro Wrestling on Power4 TV. Shropshire Wrestling Alliance, the SWA, have announced that former South Coast Connection tag team partners Kelly Six and Ashley Dunn will face off in an SWA Championship qualifier at their upcoming No Cons Just Wrestling this 20th November. Added to the previously announced qualifiers, Man Like DeReese versus Warren Banks and Lee Hunter versus Martin Kirby. Should be great. North Wrestling, NCL, have had 2 matches added to their Just Remember, all caps, in Newcastle on the 11th of December. Chris Ridgway versus Visage.
Ooh, that'll be good.
That'll be good. Crash Boat versus Sunshine Machine.
That'll be amazing.
It will be. Added to the previous announced, Rio and Gia Adams versus Lizzie Evo and Tonga.
ECW have announced that 2 Unlimited, Jay and Patrick Salmon, will face the models Joey Hayes and Danny Hope at PCW at the Blackpool Tower on the 19th of November. I'd love to go and see a wrestling show at the Blackpool Tower. As well as this, we have Giselle Azure versus Priscilla, Dean Allmark versus Leighton Buzzard for the Cruiserweight Championship.
Yeah.
Dean Allmark.
Yeah, apparently.
Maybe he's on a diet.
Sorry,
Roy
Dave.
Johnson versus Jack Morris, and Sheikl Sherm and Simon Miller versus Yestin Reese and Will Cruz. There is a lot of big beefy men in that match.
It's all about the beef. British Wrestling Revolution, BWR, have announced 3 matches for their upcoming Last Stand 2021 on the 3rd of December, a 6-man ladder match for the Anarchy briefcase, RKJ versus Miles Kamen versus Tyler Devlin versus Rory Coyle versus Callum Newman versus one more competitor yet to be selected. What's with all these multi-man ladder matches?
More people to take the bumps so they don't have to take as many bumps.
maybe, but it just seems I hate I used to love the Money in the Bank concept when they first started doing it. The first couple, brilliant
TLC was
concept.
better.
Ever since then, it has been bastardized. It's one of these matches that seems to pop up everywhere. So I'm sure it's going to be great. It's going to be absolutely chaotic. It's going to be manic. There's some fantastic competitors there and some super hardcore people there as well. So you got to mix of both. It's just going to be utter annihilation. Also, second to none, Nathan Cruz and Matt Myers will defend their tag team championships against Reese Ryan and Man Like the Reese. Plus, Two-Bit will be facing Scotty Rourke with his BWR Cruiserweight Championship on the line.
Wrestle Island have announced that they are adding 2 more matches to their upcoming Red Light, Green Light show on December the 19th in Birkenhead. There will be a 6-man tag match with the Violent Gentlemen Society, who have just released a really cool t-shirt. Tommy Jackson, Christy Quinlan, and Casey Payne versus Connor Klein, Charlie Brennan, and James Reed. RP Davies will also be taking on Pitbull. Previously announced 4-way Survivor Scramble, Carlos Zamora versus Sean Oney versus Hustle Malone versus Jade. They've added a stipulation that each elimination method can only be used once. There can only be 1 disqualification, there can only be 1 pinfall, only 1 submission. And of course, the red light, green light match, 6 participants, 1 fall. When the red light siren goes off, everyone, no matter their position, has to stay perfectly still. I think it's going to be great fun.
Or face elimination from the match. So you should make that clear. It's going to be a lot of fun, as you say. Going to be interesting. And do you know where you'll be able to see it?
Would it be on Powered 4 TV?
It will be on Powered 4 TV.
Yay!
Combat Sports Federation Wrestling, the CASF, are at the Towbridge Civic Centre on the 21st of November. It's showtime is the show. In the main event, Eddie Ryan, the British Lion, will be taking on the ambassador of British Wrestling, Doug Williams, for the All Nations Championship, plus Simon Miller versus Bobby Vegas. Have I lost you?
No, you haven't. It's just that, as you may have noticed, I am suffering from a cold and I went on mute because nobody needs to hear me blowing my nose. And I forgot to go back off mute. Wrestle Carnival just held their final show of the year with Carnival Mania, but they are already planning ahead for next year. Last year, we went to see them at the Portland Centre, and we are looking forward to seeing their 2022 calendar for all of their shows. As announced this past week, Wrestle Carnival have a new location for some of their shows, which will be the Tamworth Assembly Rooms. And they'll be running their first show from it. It All Begins on the 19th of November.
No, February.
That's what I thought, sorry. Tickets went on sale today. As we record, both the Carnival Champion and the Queen of the Carnival will be in action.
Yeah. Should be good. The Wrestle Carnival calendar came out last week, which we did mention on the show. But this is a new show, and a second show. And depending on how those shows go, possibly more in the future. So excellent to see that Wrestle Carnival is growing. Indeed,
they are a great promotion. They're our friends, and you can enjoy watching their shows on Patreon.
Indeed. Ultimate Pro Wrestling UPW have announced their confirmed dates for 2022 as January the 30th in Yeovil, March the 12th in Weymouth, May the 28th in Wincanton, August the 18th in Weymouth, October the 16th in Yeovil, and December the 3rd in Wincanton.
OPW, Odyssey Pro Wrestling. Peer Fear is this Saturday, the 20th, and they'll be raising money for the Brian's House Children's Hospital. There will be a TLC match. Born Ready versus Synergy versus Reese and Rogan. We'll have Sandy Beach versus Big Guns Joe versus Keenan versus Rob Drake. We'll have Mickey Barnes and Nate Reese versus a freak show with Isaiah Quinn. Two-Bit will take on Nick Cutter, and Melanie Price will take on Helena Razor.
And Ryan Hunter will take it on Scotty Rock.
Indeed. Planning ahead, OPW have begun to announce the matches for their final show of 2022, Buried Treasure. I think it's a great name for a wrestling show. This includes a four-way elimination match to crown an OPW Women's Champion with Gia Adams versus Lizzie Evo versus Tonga versus
Alexis Falcon.
Alexis Falcon. Excellent. That is an amazing match. JJ Webb and Big Guns Joe will take on Synergy, Troy Ryan and Alison Daniels. Sexy Kev and Mark Meltzer will be taking on the freak show of Will Carter and Nightmare with Isaiah Quinn.
Some really, really good matches there. And again, you can check them out on Powered 4 TV. DOA Wrestling. DOA are in Bury St. Edmunds on the 27th of November with Sugar Beatdown. So announcing that Winston will be facing Charles Crowley for the DOA UK Heavyweight Championship. Plus a tag team as the Rebellion, Jack Torreno and Taylor Essex take on the Heavyweight Heartbreakers, Brad Tannen and Hugo Bloom.
Ooh. DNA Wrestling have announced that the I Am the Danger show on the 18th of December will be Forrest Hayes and Charles Crowley joining the previously announced Big Effin' Joe, who has issued an open challenge stating that he will take on anyone, plus CJ Carter returns to DNA, as well as the Voodoo Queen Amar, who will also be making her return to DNA. So we're going to have Forrest Hayes and Charles Crowley wrestling.
Yes.
That would be great. Forrest Hayes is somebody that I've only recently become sort of more aware of, and I think he's really, really good.
Yeah, and you can check DNA Wrestling out on Powered 4 TV. Ultimate British Wrestling, UBW, will be teaming up with Spectrum, who are a multi-award winning events and support group for children with autism, additional needs and disabilities, alongside their families and carers. The show will be called Spectrum Smackdown, and this is on the 19th of December at the Littleport Leisure Centre. And it will feature Charles Crowley, Clementine, and Warren Banks. But before that, they're in Leiston on the 20th of November, so next week, with a little lineup. Do you want to go through it?
I will indeed. The lineup is Jimbo versus Leo Edwards for the UBW Square One Academy Championship. Frankie Vegas versus Adonis Payne. The Heavyweight Heartbreakers versus Kenton O'Grady. Tommy Kyle versus Mike Bird. Phil Bedwell versus Truman Roswell, and Callie Gray versus Ricky Calvert.
Yeah, of course. You've been to a couple of UBW shows. British Wrestling. Our colleague, our friend, Stephen Southern, the Tribal Chief of the Big Fat Geeks, has also been to their shows. Do you think you maybe make trip for Royston? Or?
Unfortunately, I have a job to do as an ambassador myself on that date. As you may notice, the beard is getting whiter, as is the hair. It will be grey next week, and I will be doing my first appearance as the big jolly fellow on that date. However, I will say for this lineup for UBW, Frankie Vegas versus Adonis Payne's the one that's jumping out at me. That's going to be a really good match.
Yeah, great family little promotion, and they do some really, really fun shows as that you guys regularly go to because they're based in Hertfordshire. Of course, if the Tribal Chief of the Big Fat Geeks does decide he's going to the show next week, he can pre-warn his young Jack that BDSM or Charles Crowley won't be there because, of course, young Jack is a huge fan of Charles Crowley and BDSM.
He's got the T-shirt he represents.
And with that said, that rounds up another Brit Wres roundup. We hope you enjoyed the show. Remember, folks, don't feed. Oh, hold on.
Remember, folks, you can get a month free to watch Powered 4 TV by using the code TPOD.
Indeed. All the amazing programs, promotions that we've talked about throughout this show, most of them are, of course, on Powered 4 TV. So, yes, if you want 1 free month, go check out those 10 shows I mentioned earlier, just for free. You might as well. And I guarantee you'll love it so much that you'll stay signed up. And with that said, We hope you have a great day or night, depending on when you're listening. And remember, folks, don't feed the trolls.